something that can make or break a marriage. Men, this nonsense that you do, that you wait till your wife is sleeping before you now be doing darling, darling, stop that nonsense. That ain't sexy and it's not considerate, it's selfish. By the time she's fallen asleep, let her sleep. Because one thing I'll tell you about us women, we don't get to switch off like you men. You can come from work and that's it, bam. Work is done and you're home and that's it. Whereas we're still thinking about all sorts of different things. So by the time we've had the luxury of being able to fall asleep, don't wake my ass up. Don't do it. Do not do that. Just show some consideration. And why is your wife so tired? How is she managing the home? How is she managing at work? Is there anything troubling her? Those are the things. And understand that intimacy is not just about sex. It is also about conversation. It's about concern. It's about consideration. It's about understanding what that person's love language is. I've gone completely off my notes, but praise the Lord. Let me tell you something. You need to love your spouse how they want to be loved, not how you want to love them. I repeat, you need to love your spouse how they want to be loved, not how you want to love them. Why do I say this? Because when you love somebody how they want to be loved, that's when they feel love. A lot of times when marriages break down and people say, oh, we have irreconcilable differences and both parties still love each other, the reason why the marriage has broken down is because you're not loving each other in the language that either party understands. Let me give you an example. My love language is words of affirmation. I am very particular about words. So if you are speaking to a woman like me and we are having an argument and you become personal, oh, you are like this, you are like that, you will crush me. And by that I mean I will recoil. For me to be able to come out of that space, I'm just hearing what you said. So when you are coming to apologize, because my love language in apology is about acknowledgement and not just about the word, I need for you to say, I'm sorry I said this thing. I said it because, and I won't do it again by doing this. That's me. Don't go and buy me a gift. That's not my love language. Don't go and buy me a bracelet, or that's not my love language. I don't care about material things in that way. But the things you say to me are very important. Now, if you are married to such a person, when you are having a disagreement, you need to watch what comes out of your mouth. Because how your spouse is going to receive that is maybe very differently from how you intended it. And this is what I'm saying, that you need to love the person that you're married to in the manner in which they want to be loved. So for example, ladies, if you're married to a man whose love language is physical contact, then sorry for you. You have to be doing that thing. But understand that. And then it becomes about compromise and understanding what is comfortable for two of you. Because the moment one person feels unfulfilled, your marriage has broken down. If one person has a problem, then you both have a problem. So even though we're speaking about physical attraction in a marriage, there are different elements that gets you to be physically attracted. I can't be physically attracted to a man that insults me. Forget the fact that you have all the muscles and you're 6 foot whatever and you're fine. But if you insult me, you become repulsive to me. You do not become attractive to me. So when we speak about this physical attraction thing, understand that there are different things that contribute to physical attraction. And like I said, I have so gone off my notes. So let's see what you guys are saying. Let me see if I've got your comments in check. Let's see. The preamble to lovemaking is very important. Listen, you men, I'm giving you guys a good hint here. If you want good sex from your wives, when you come home yourself, my wife is she's not always tired. She's bored of you. She's bored. You don't turn her on anymore. You are boring. And you see, because we don't want to crush your egos, we don't want to tell you the truth. So we will tell you that we have a headache. Now, lie. We don't have any headache. You, the man, you are the headache. You are the headache that's come to the house. But, and I know I do mix this with a lot of, just joking about and stuff. But, it's true though. You're laughing because y'all know it's true. We are bored. You're boring and we are bored. But when you call us, darling, how are you doing? How's your day going? Is there anything you'd like me to pick up on my way home for you? Are you and the kids okay? She can't wait for you to come home. He's saying she cannot wait for you to come home. But when you come in with this, your attitude, you've had a hard day at work, you throw your briefcase and you give an attitude and all this rubbish. And then at night, you want us to open shop for you and for you to go shopping. We will give you no frills goods. We will not give you the finest. We will give you no frills. That one, sharp, sharp. Oh yeah, let's turn around and sleep. But if you want the quality that we know we can give and we can put it down, start making love to us from the morning. Ladies, if I'm lying, tell me I'm lying. Please comment. If I'm lying, tell me I'm lying. But you see what sometimes you men don't seem to understand is that to get us to give you good sex means you need to be affectionate towards us. And don't get me wrong, sometimes we just want sex as well. But a lot of the time, we just want to feel loved. Sometimes we just want a hug. We don't want sex. But some of you men, you can't control yourself. You hug your wife and then things start rising. Relax. But it's natural. We get it. Ladies, let me tell you something. If you want good sex from your husband, respect him. Your mouth. Don't be talking to your husband anyhow. Don't reduce your husband to nothing and expect him to be a man. He relies on you to make him a man. Why? Because the power of a woman behind a man is exactly that. It is power. You can make or break your spouse. Don't listen, me, I'm very balanced. Don't think that it's all about, men do this. No. Because again, people see me and think, I'm very strong and therefore I would have, obviously for those of you that don't know, I'm widowed. So thinking, this one would have ridden her husband like a horse. No. I know my place as a woman and I enjoy it. It's a wonderful place to be. It's a wonderful place to be. And it's about balance. And women, if you want that home where you are able to express yourself and be happy and raise children in a good environment, do your part. And a lot of it is about our attitude and how we also show up when we have a problem. The one thing I will say that just dropped in my spirit, this silent treatment nonsense that we do in our homes, cut it out. Not only is it immature, but it's I find it demonic. I think it's very demonic and it's very controlling. And I find people that like to control, as far as I'm concerned, that's just a different form of witchcraft. Don't try to control people with your silence. If there is a problem, sit down like an adult. I'm a writer. So when I have an issue, for me, I will write. And yes, sometimes can be misconstrued, but you know what? At least it's a good point of conversation. Write something down. Don't always express your upset through your silence. Silence is difficult to interpret. And you see, I'm saying all these things because if you don't get rid of all this stuff, how are you able to come together and be intimate and keep the relationship alive? Physical attraction is not just about you've got muscles, you've got a big bum, you've got big tits, and yeah, we're physically attracted. It's more than that. Especially if you want to keep it alive. So yes, so I've spoken a lot about, our sex life and how we are able to keep that going, the physical attraction going. Do you know what? Let me tell you something. I'm making this thing too complicated. Keep it alive. You keep your marriage and the physical attraction alive by being a friend to your spouse. Common basic respect would take you both very far. Just common basic respect. How you talk to your husband, how you talk to your wife, how you come together in agreement when it comes to your children, how you do even with in-laws. These are basic things that have such a profound effect on the bedroom. Profound. Let me tell you something, men. When you don't protect your wife from your family, and it is your responsibility, when we don't feel protected, what you're saying is, I can leave you open for anybody to take a piece of you. So when you want us to give you a piece of ourselves, we don't trust you. We don't trust you. And you see, the best sex you will ever have with your wife is a wife who not only respects you, but trusts you. She knows that her life is safe in your hands. How she will relate to you sexually is on a different level. Different level. But you don't want to hear it because sometimes we find it difficult to be able to articulate that to you. But how protected you make us feel is how we are able to open up and say, yes, this is my husband. So attraction, physical attraction, is not just about the physical, is basically what I'm saying. There's so much, that goes on behind the scenes to get you to that place where you look at that man and you think, I want some of that. Or that man looks at him and thinks that, yeah, that's my wife. Because let me tell you something. This nonsense that women don't enjoy sex is a lie from the pit of hell. Lie. Women enjoy sex. And when a woman doesn't enjoy sex, what I did say earlier on is find out the reason why. Sometimes it's culture. Sometimes that woman, and I'll just make this general, either the man or the woman, hasn't come from a home where people were openly affectionate or very tactile. So to have that expectation that they can do that in the home may be difficult. But again, if you're speaking to your wife or your husband is that way inclined, then you can speak about that and see how best you can get to a place where you're both comfortable. Baby steps. I come from a home where my parents were always very tactile. My dad would come home from work and he would kiss my mum on the lips. That's normal for me. Every single day. Monday to Friday, there was not one day my father came home from work that I didn't see him kiss my mum on the lips. Number two, the other thing I never saw was my father sleep in a separate room to my mother because of an argument. The other thing I never saw was my parents having a damn argument. I'm 50 years old, and the only thing that I can recall is one time my mum and dad being in my room where my mum was really annoyed with my dad because he had a friend that would come to the house every so often drunk. And my mum was like, this is not good for the kids to see this man drunk. That was the only time. And even then, they went to the room. I just happened to be in the bedroom. It wasn't like they were having a go at each other in front of us kids. Now, when you insult your wife in front of your children, do you really think that she's going to feel like sleeping with you? Or Mrs., when you berate your husband in front of your kids, do you really think that he wants to have sex? No. If we do have sex, we're just having sex. We're not making love to you. And we're really counting sheep and thinking, let this thing be over quick so I can roll over and sleep. And these are the things that affect marriages. This is how we end up, being like the couples that I spoke about last week, where you hate each other and you're living under the same roof, continuing to hate each other, and yet you're not getting divorced. Okay, let me read some comments. Brenda Sherlock, thank you for being here. I'm not going to wear white, because against the writing, I can't see anything. So I'm going to be dressed all in black like a ninja next week. Anita Agri says, thank you. Communication is key. Amen. What is your spouse's love language? Yeah, go find out. Actually, from here, those of you, that are in relationships, married, go and find out what is your spouse's love language. Go and read about it and see, how best you can communicate, because there's no point us having these conversations and nothing changes. Go and do your research. Or better still, start watching this with your husband and your wife so that what you can't tell them, like for example, that your husband is boring in bed. Don't worry, I'll say it for you. Inbox me. Ladies, inbox me. I'll say the thing for you. Don't worry, I don't charge. Guys, if your wife, she doesn't do it for you, inbox me. Yeah, no big problem. Okay, so Hetianami says, you put the nail right on in the coffin. It's terrible words thrown at me that killed my relationship. You see, I rest my case. Words are very powerful. As women, for example, because we tend to be, and I use this loosely, we tend to be more expressive with our words. Really building up your man and telling him how wonderful he is, how much you appreciate him. It does a lot for a man. Our men are more fragile than they will allow us to believe because of our culture, because of the society in which we live. They have to give off, most men have to give off this air that, they're men and they're strong, what have you. But let me tell you something, when your man can actually shed tears in front of you, then you know that he must really trust you. And, I think that it's important that we allow our men to see us as their safe haven. Never to be one where they think, my wife, the way her mouth is me, I can't confide in her. No. We should be the safe haven for our husbands. Husbands, be the safe haven for your wife. When the world out there, which is a brutal world, when it deals with us out there and we come home, the home has got to be that sanctuary. And what seals it is that level of sexual intimacy that we can have. Now, as I mentioned earlier on in the program, that somebody mentioned the fact that they don't have sex with their husband, yet they are very close and very loving. The key word here is agreement. What the two parties have agreed. Let me tell you something. If you're with your spouse, and between husband and wife, you've agreed to only have sex on only the days of the week that starts with, I don't know, the letter T, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Who am I to say no, that's wrong? You've both agreed it. For the two shall become one. You've both agreed it. If one party says, well, I want to have sex on every day of the week that ends with a Y, then y'all got a problem. Because that's every day. So where is the compromise? So it's really about communication and compromise and understanding what you agree to do with each other. That's what makes it what it needs to be. The problem arises when we have different expectations that we don't communicate out of fear or out of rejection or out of feeling we'll be ridiculed. So again, it comes back to this fundamental thing of being married to your friend and having love and respect for them. Because really, there is nothing that your husband should not be able to tell you and vice versa. Faces, men think they're the only ones who get bored. No, listen, guys, listen, sometimes your sex is whack. Yeah, you're not the only ones that get bored. Your wives get bored as well. And sometimes when they're pretending to have a headache is because that's what your sex gives them, a headache. It's boring. So again, be honest, speak to your spouse. I know I'm just being brutally honest here because I can be. And I'm just saying what the wives can't tell their husbands and what the husbands can't tell their wives. I would just keep it real. Sherelle says it's also mental. Being in sync with your partner is so important. Absolutely. Zoe says respect is key. Yemisi Parko says that the silent treatment is guaranteed to push me away from you permanently. It is important to understand your partner's love language, show empathy to each other, be supportive. That's why I'm saying that men, this is rubbish, Only men do this, that when the wife is sleeping. I even watched a video on YouTube today where the woman was fast asleep and this is really twisted. The woman was fast asleep and the husband was doing all sorts of stupidness to wake her up so that he could have sex with her. And she was like, look, I'm really tired. I've got to be up early in the morning. I'm exhausted, blah, blah, blah. And it was really funny because she ended up getting up to go to work whilst his lazy ass was in bed. She goes to work and the maid comes into the room. Big batty maid, house help. And the next thing, he's on this maid and the wife catches him. And at the end, this is when I say some of these men, some of them are sick. And I know it was only a man that wrote that nonsense. At the end of that video, it was written, what did it say? Do not deny your husband to prevent such a thing happening in your house. Because I don't want my Facebook account to be restricted, I have to hold it down, But where I wanted to start from, not only would they have banned me, they would have had to do another Facebook, a brand new one for me to join. Hey, Jesus is Lord. Listen, you see those kind of men, you can see what kind of marriages or relationships they have or will have. Because when you see sex as being your right, to the point where if you don't get it, you are justified to go and sexually harass your maid, your house help, or to go and have affairs, then you don't deserve to be married. Why are you guys laughing? Because I say, well, I wanted to start from. Hey, listen, don't get me twisted, I'm very nice, but when I'm ready, I will tear strips of you. And you see, that's the mindset we have. So if we are approaching our wives with, if you don't give me sex, I'll go outside and go and get it all. And some of you men, that's what you tell your wives. Hey, if you don't give it, that's your business. The same way you're going to get it outside, your wife too can get it outside from somebody who understands her needs. But that's not the objective of your marriage. It's so that there will be understanding, such that you can keep what is intimate. Gentlemen, because you seem to be fond of this nonsense a little bit more than us ladies. I'm not saying we don't do it too. I said a little bit more fond. I choose my words very carefully. You seem to think that by spreading, but let me cut to the chase. Don't be a community penis. Keep your penis at home. Because when you are having extramarital affairs, you are one man, one person. There is only so much of yourself that you can give. You can't be intimate with 2 women or 3 or 4. Whatever it is that you feel that you are losing or you've lost with your wife, try and find it. Let me tell you something. Sex is spiritual. Sex connects your spirit and your soul to the person with whom you are having sex. That is why they say the two shall become one flesh. They're talking about the joining of spirit. So when you are there, doing rent a penis, anybody that wants penis, you did there. You're joining your spirit to different people, and different people have different spirits. Not every woman has a good spirit. Not every man has a good spirit. But unfortunately, when you take yourself out there, you are carrying your wife with you to join that other person's spirit. Listen, when you have sex, it's the joining of souls. That is what brings you together. That's what ties you. So when you feel that just going out there having sex is just a physical thing, look, I said last week, it doesn't matter what you believe. It doesn't make what you disbelieve untrue. And that's why I said, if you don't believe in the law of gravity, go up to a high rise and jump and see what will happen. You just say, I don't believe, splat. That's what will happen. Because that law of gravity is not dependent on your belief. Likewise, I am telling you, sex is spiritual. When you have sex with somebody, your soul and your spirit is joined to that person. And that is why, even in the secular world, even when you take your vows, even legally, the marriage only becomes a legally binding thing recognized in law when you have consummated that marriage, when you have had sex. Because it is now the joining of the two to become one. So the fact that you haven't exchanged vows with somebody and you are having sex, the two have become one. Men, watch who you lay with. Recognize your own garage and park your car there. Would you go and park your car in your neighbor's garage? No, you'll be trespassing. So please, park your car where it belongs.
Freedom from hurt, freedom from pain. Send me sunshine, send me